Good evening, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to our service. We begin this evening with Hine Matov, found on page
Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hinem HaTov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hinem HaTov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hinem HaTov U'manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Matov U'manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Matov Hine Matov La 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 Hine Matov Hine Matov La 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 Hine Matov U'manayim Shevet
of the Shabbat lights. I would like to invite Joanne and Sandra Gronke to kindle the Shabbat lights as we turn to pages 120 and 121.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold him, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu
melech haolam, asher kinshanu mitzvotav, mitzvayanu
lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik shel Shabbat.
Thank you. We read together at the bottom of page 124. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young and straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Please turn to page 144 for the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemer haba בעלמא דברך ידותה והמליך מלכותה בחייכון וביומכון ובחיית כל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמר אבא מברך לעולם ולעלמי המיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקדושה בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו amen.
Please rise for the call to worship on page 146.
Baruch et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed.
We read together on page 149. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide and time of light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv Aravim.
Ahavat olam Bet Yisrael Amech avta Amech avta Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, otanu limadeta. Ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachvenu uvkumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach midivre toratecha ub'mitzvotecha le'olam vaed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yamenu uvahem nege yomam v'layla nege yomam v'layla tasir mimenu leolamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Together on page 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. We read responsively on page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The heavens declare your glory, the earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings be many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Norati lot, O Sefele, Norati lot, נור התהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע הים לפני משה ומרים, זה ליהנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי יפד אדוני את יעקב, וגואלו מיד הזך ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל.
We read together on the top of page 159. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomrenu lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomrenu lechaim. Ushmot zetenu uvohenu lechaim ulshalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomrenu lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom vehamidenu shomrenu lechaim.
We read together on the top of page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haparish sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
V'shamru, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We rise for the tefillah found on page 164. Adonai efatavtitak ufi yagita hilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם והסרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מקיים הכל, אתה רב להושיע. מחלקי חיים בחסד, מקיים הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ולופך עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בר גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומשמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקיים הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהדלוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. On page 173, we read responsively, Disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency, make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from the shunning of the horror and defeat, the bitterness and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai Makadesh HaShabbat.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu me'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel u'tehil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Hamecha El Karov Lechol Kol Ehav Pinel Havatecha Vichanenu Shevach Rochaka Aleinu Betechezena Enenu Beshuvecha Litzion Berachamim Baruch atah Adonai Amachazir Shechinato Litzion Litzion.
Together on the top of page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shemka ulka naheh ladot.
Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav Israel Hamcha Tasim Leolam Ki Atom Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom Ki Atom Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom Shalom Rav Al Israel Hamcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav Al Israel Hamcha Tasim Leolam Betov Menecha Levarech Et Hamcha Israel Bechol Het Ubechol Shah Bishlomecha Shalom Rav Al Israel Hamcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav Al Israel Hamcha Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam.
We read together on the top, page 179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarik et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take a moment now to ask for God's healing for those in our congregation and community suffering from illness. The temple sends its healing prayers to Eloise Rapino, Joel Leviton, Cindy Bromson, and Barb Manley. Feel free to share the name of someone dear to you at this time.
Dave Saltzman, Mackenzie Bigman.
We turn to the bottom of page 371 for the Mishabeirach.
Mishabeirach avotenu mekor habracha lehimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabeirach imotenu mekor habracha lehavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We pause now for a moment of silent prayer.
Say shalom, shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael, amen.
It is my pleasure to call upon Dr. Bennett Romanoff for this evening's Devar Torah.
Shabbat Shalom. I think most of you know me, but there may be a few out there who don't know me. I live here in Sylvania and been a lifelong member of the temple. I also belong to B'nai Israel. Why do we all study the Torah? We do it every week here at the synagogue, and some of us study it at home. One could say that it's a commandment to study the Torah. Our precepts teach tikkun olam, giving tzedakah, and a study Torah. This is certainly true. However, in respect to Torah, I really view it as our roadmap to life. It's all there to guide us through our life. The Torah teaches us how to act, how to treat each other, and how to conduct ourselves in society and business. And certainly it gives us our laws to ensure that we have civility and the means to govern ourselves. How many of you have read the Torah from beginning to end? I cannot begin to tell you what a rewarding experience it is. It's one thing, however, to studying. It is another thing to study it seriously. I truly believe that the more times one reads the Torah, the more one discovers and realizes the lessons that are in it. This week's parsha is Vayera. It is the fourth parsha. It follows Bereshit, Noach, and Lech Lecha. The first four parshot are really interesting stories when you read them. They're sort of very nice stories. However, they're setting the stage for who we are as Jews. Up to this point, only 2 of the 613 mitzvot have been stated. First in Bereshit, to be fruitful and multiply, and secondly in Lech Lecha, the mitzvah of circumcision. The Yera is more or less a continuation of the story of Abraham. At the end of Lech Lecha, Abraham was the first Jew to be circumcised. And in this parsha, Abraham is in his tent in the desert 3 days later. The Hebrew word for Vayera translates out to God appeared to him, because everything we read in this parsha describes a new era in Abraham's life, where his physical body becomes a receptacle for divinity through the covenant of circumcision. The lesson to us is, as descendants of Abraham, God's presence is very important and central in our lives. Just as God appeared to Abraham, God appears to us. The only difference is that Abraham was given the ability to figuratively see God. In a nutshell, this parsha starts in Jacob's tent, where he's honored to show hospitality to 3 angels dressed as men that were really sent by God to him. Abraham is 99 years old, and his wife Sarah is 90. And they're told by one of the men that she will bear a son. This is one of the few instances in the Torah of sort of fun humor, as this humorous account of Sarah showed her laughing in her tent when she heard that she was going to conceive a son at 90 years old, because she was way beyond the years of conception. The portion continues with Abraham saving Lot in Sodom and Amorah, and thereafter articulating the progeny of Lot. Abraham settled in the land of Avimelech. Sarah does become pregnant and has a son named Yitzhak. Sarah demands that Abraham expel his maidservant Hagar and their son Ishmael, since they worshipped idols, and also to ensure that their son Yitzhak would become the heir to generations and to also receive the birthright. As they were leaving, God told them, "Get up and pack your bags and grasp hold of him," referring to Ishmael, "because I will make him into a great nation." Of course, this is why in Islam, Abraham is considered their forefather. Abraham makes a deal with Avimelech to leave the area and return the 7 wells that were there. Abraham had dug these wells on his way to Egypt in the last parsha. Now, these 7 wells are in the area of Beersheba. Beersheba translates out literally to 7 wells. For any of you who've been to Israel, you've probably been to Beersheba. This is the ancient location where both Abraham and Sarah lived. The parsha concludes with the Akedah, where Abraham is sent to sacrifice his son Yitzhak. Abraham is a man of many accomplishments. He rescues his nephew Lot at Sodom and Amorah. He brought to the world the concept of monotheism. He introduced the practice of hospitality by welcoming the angels. And he stood up to God himself in the defense of justice at Sodom and Amorah. Of all these accomplishments, we are told that his most outstanding quality, the one that found favor in God's eye, was his capacity to teach others and to teach lessons that would last a lifetime. The parsha states, and I quote, For I have singled him out, that he may instruct his children and his posterity to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right." The text stresses the Hebrew word acharav, which translates out to lasting lesson. The lessons we learn for a lifetime are the true essence of education. Many of you here today remember my mother, Margie, of blessed memory. And some of you were even her students. I can picture at least a couple out there that were students. I still hear somewhat often from her former students, most recently just last week, how much they learn and how much they remember from what she taught. Of course, I was blessed to have the benefit of learning from her not only in her Sunday school class, And if any of my teachers here, you know I wasn't the model student, misbehaving all the time. I was blessed to have had the benefit of learning from her both at home and in the class. She exemplified leaving a lasting lesson that this parsha teaches. And I'm sure that everyone here can think of some person. It could be a relative, could be an aunt and uncle, could be a rabbi, friend, parent, that you benefited from what they may have taught you. Plato, in his masterwork, The Republic, arguably the earliest treatise on education, writes that the direction in which one gets education starts a man in life. How well these words capture the concept of education that is expressed in Jewish sources. Unlike Plato, however, who thought that only the elite could be educated and be teachers, Judaism teaches us that everyone, regardless of their gender and status, is a teacher. Every one of us can leave a lasting impact on one another, and most of us do, for better or worse. There's nothing more rewarding to a teacher, a rabbi, a parent, an aunt and uncle, a grandparent, than encountering a student, a child, or grandchild, now grown up, to be told how they remember something that was taught to them or told to them long ago, even in passing. Discovering that we have influence over another is, in a positive manner, is one of life's most pleasing of lessons. It's one of life's most pleasing experiences. In modern parlance, it takes a village to raise a child. We are all an integral part of that village. It takes much more than relying on a teacher to totally educate a child, however. Just a short while ago, just a few moments ago, we recited the Shema. How many of us say our prayers by rote without thinking of what we just read or recited? Most of us, I assume, fall into that category. I know myself included. The Shema states, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be upon your heart. Teach them diligently to your children. Recite them at home and on your way, day and night," so on and so forth. A man who was one of the most perceptive American educators, his name was John Dewey, the Dewey Decimal System. He said, education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. Dewey was onto something, but he was too preceded in insight by Jewish sages who taught that Torah study was the essence of life. Or as Maimonides put it, for the wise, a life without learning is not life at all. So Abraham and Sarah were the first Jews, not because they were born before us. They were the first Jews because of teaching others was their life's mission. They modeled their lives in kindness, empathy, justice, and humility. Thus, the Torah is our roadmap of life. The Torah is our masterwork that gives us the 613 mitzvot, the 613 commandments. I would recommend that everyone consider not just reading the Torah, but taking the extra step in studying it too. The more we learn ourselves, the more we can pass it on. We pass it on to our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews, our friends, and acquaintances. As we say, Lador Vador, from generation to generation. I guarantee you, it'll be one of the most rewarding and gratifying experiences, just as it was for Abraham and Sarah. Again, Shabbat Shalom.
And some announcements from Andy.
I wear many hats tonight. So tonight, I'm your friendly board representative. So just a few announcements. This Sunday, November 13th at 3 p.m. here at the temple, we start up our second season of BGSU recitals here with a concert of piano selections performed by BG students of Dr. Yevgeny Yontov. Be a nice short program of a variety of music, some Chopin, some Debussy. It should be lovely. There will be a reception to follow. We ask that you would consider bringing Thanksgiving food-related items, canned goods, and non-perishables that we're going to distribute to those in need. Mark on your calendars as well, Sunday, December 11th at 3 p.m., our second concert in the series, loosely coined with the title, That's Entertainment. It's going to be a performance of a variety of singers, art, song, opera arias, and Broadway selections by voice students of Dr. Jane Schoonmaker-Rogers, including yours truly. So, reception at that event as well, and for that one we're going to be collecting warm clothing, hats, gloves, scarves, warm socks that we'll distribute to those in need. Be sure to check your email on Wednesdays for the Temple Talk, which will outline everything that's going on here and find out the latest news of upcoming events. Shabbat Shalom.
We turn to our concluding prayers as we rise for the Elenu, found on the bottom of 586.
לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וכל עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. Together we read on page 589. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד.
We continue on page 594. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. At this sacred moment of our Sabbath worship, we think lovingly of Judy Aksanovich, taken from us during recent days and weeks. We name two at this time, those whose yartzites, the anniversary of whose passings, occurs on this Shabbat, as we recall. Rose Ackerman, Isidore Binzer, M.D., Robert Warren Gaines, Dr. Joseph Gossman, Louise Heilbronn, Cora Hahn Jacobson, Ruth Kalkstein, Alan Klinger, Reuben H. Kramer, Arthur Lebb, Philip Markowitz, Eva Nadell, Florence K. Posner, Kathy Rich, Samuel Romanoff, Louis Shodis, Mac Shulak, Dana Sloan, Irene Solomon, Joan Nathanson Summers, Hyman S. Topper, Sam Wasserstrom, and Manuel Zimmerman. We rise now and sanctify the name of God with the words of the Kaddish found on page 598. Yitzgadal v'yizkadash shemei rabbah v'yamad yivra kute malklich malkute b'kai kekon uv'yomekon uv'kaye dekol beit Yisrael b'agala uzman kariv v'yimru amen Yehei shemei rabbah mi'avrak le'olam olmei olmaya Yisporak v'yishtaba v'yitporar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shemei dekucha briyahu Leil min kol birkata v'shirata, tushbekata v'nekamata, damiram b'yamal v'yamru amen. Yehei shlama rabin shemaya, v'kayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'rmumav, hu yasei shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all those who are bereaved, here and everywhere, as together we say, Amen.
Amen.
We remain standing for our final hymn, Ein Keloheno, on page 626.
Ein Kelohenu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkenu, Ein Kemoshienu, Michelohenu, Michadonenu, Michemalkenu, Michamokrienu, Nodel Elohenu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkenu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Elohenu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkenu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Elohenu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkenu, Atahu Moshienu.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us for Kiddush in the foyer.
We did it.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely as always.
I'm just going to set my light down, but I'm going to get everything else out of the way. So
Even if you don't, I'm going to be coming in early, so.
if you need to change anything, it doesn't
No, it's
upset
going to stay,
me at
I'm
all.
not going to be moving anything. Because it's kind of silly to tune the piano and then push it across the room. And as someone who has heard the sound of the piano getting dropped onto concrete, I know how much tension's in one of those things.